All right, hello Algebra 2 students. We are going to be doing problem number 7 on this packet on graphing piecewise functions. So what we're going to do is we see here on this problem that there are how many pieces? 3. So that means what we're going to do like we did yesterday is we're going to name the parts as the following. We're going to have this as part 1. This is going to be part 2. This is going to be part 3. Okay, part 1, part 2, and part 3. Now, what that means is we're going to create 3 tables, one for each part. So I'm going to have a table for x, y for part 1. I'm going to have a table for part 2 for the x, y. And then I'm going to have a table for part 3 with the x, y. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go by parts, and we're going to try to get some points on these tables so that we can graph it accordingly. Now, let's start part 1. Remember, what we do is we check to see what the endpoint is. Remember, the endpoint is going to come after that phrase, if whatever. So what does part 1 say? If what? If what? What does it say after if? Less than or equal to -2. So that means that our endpoint is going to be -2. So we're going to put -2 on this table. Now, because you said less than or equal to, what are 2 other values we can write for x considering it's less than or equal to -2? -3, -4. Very good. Those are less than -2. Okay? Now, the other thing I did not mention yesterday, I want to mention it now, is what kind of circle will I be putting for x equals -2 for this part? Will it be open or closed? Why is it closed? Because it's equal to. Very good. I'm going to ask that you write that down beside -2. So it's going to be closed. So when we go to the graph in just a moment, we'll be graphing -2, comma, whatever, with a closed circle. Now, the next thing you have to do is figure out what y is. Remember, since we're using the first part, our first part is y equals 2x, because that's the first part. So all you gotta do now is multiply -2 to the values of x. We gotta multiply 2 to each of the values of x in our table. So let's start with -2. What will that be? It's gonna be just 2 times -2, right? So what's 2 times -2? -4. Then for -3, what would it be? -6. And then of course, -4 would be -8. So right now, we have found those 3 values. There really wasn't anything to show on that because it's just 2 times those numbers, right? Does anyone have a question about how we got the numbers for part 1? So what we're going to do now is we're going to graph part 1. So we're going to go over to our coordinate plane, and we're going to start by plotting -2, -4. So I'm going to go to -2, -4. So yeah. So I'm going to go, didn't mean to do that. So -2, so 1, 2, and then 1, 2 to the left, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, it's going to be what kind of circle? Closed. So I'm going to go and put a closed circle right there. Then I'm going to plot the other points, which are -3 sits. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3 to the left, and then sits down. So goes right here. And then -4 is -8. So I'm going to go to right here. Okay? Now, because the graph is going in that direction, that's how it's going to be, because it says x is less than or equal to -2. So therefore, I connect those points, and I must draw an arrow. We only have one endpoint. So that one endpoint is at -2, so therefore, it's going to look just like that for part 1. All right, does anybody have a question about how we do part 1? How we graph part 1? You have a question? Okay, let's go to part 2. Now, you'll notice on part 2, there are actually 2 endpoints, right? Because you have an endpoint at what number and at what number? What's the first endpoint at on part 2? Negative what? -2, and the other one's at 4. So what that means is we're going to have to put both of them on the table. So we're going to put -2, then leave a space, and do -4. Positive 4, right? It's positive 4. Okay, so positive 4. Okay, I don't like that. Positive 4. There we go. All right. Now, at this point, all you got to do is choose at least one number that is between -2 and 4 so we can put it on this graph. So, anybody want to give me a number that's between -2 and 4?
0.
Yeah, can we use 0? I like 0. It's easy. Let's use 0. So let's do 0 right here. Now, if we're using 0, now I didn't mean to do that. Sorry about that. I don't know why I did that. Okay, so here's 0. So we're going to use 0 for this. Now, the next thing I have to ask you is, what kind of circle will be at -2 on this part?
Open.
It will be open. How do you know that?
There's no equal.
Exactly, no equals. Then we also have to ask you about 4, because that's on the other end. So what kind of circle is that?
Open.
That will also be open for the same reason, right? So they're both open. Now we're going to calculate what -2, 0, and 4 are for x, their x values, and plug it into y. Now, if you don't mind, I'm just going to come over here to the side, and I'm going to work these out real quickly. So we're now going to do y equals -1 minus x. So that means that if I do for -2, so if I'm going to use x equals -2, I'm going to have, let me see here, we have -1 minus parentheses -2. You understand? Because it's -1 minus x. So we have to do -1 minus whatever x is. So can anybody tell me what that is equal to? -1 minus a -2.
1.
What kind?
Positive.
A positive 1. Very good. So it's going to equal to 1. Therefore, 1 goes right here. All right? Let's do it again for 0. So x equals 0. So it's going to be -1 minus 0. So what's -1 minus 0? -1. And then just do it one more time for positive 4. So it's -1 minus 4. What is that equal to? What kind? I don't think so. -1 minus 4, right? -5, right? Okay. -5. So it's going to be -5. Does anybody have a question on how we got the values for y in this part 2? You have any questions? Yes.
Right. Are we always going to do that y equals -1 for part 2?
For part 2?
Yeah.
It's just whatever the expression is. So you see here, this is the expression for part 2. So that's going to be the y equals for that one. Just like on part 1, the expression was y equals 2x. Okay?
Yeah.
It all depends on what the part says. Okay? All right. Thank you for asking that question, because somebody might have had that same question. So now we're going to come back to the graph and plot the points. So first we have -2, 1. So I'm going to go to -2, 1, and I got to be sure, that's as my friend said, -2, 1, I got to be sure it's a what kind of circle? Oh, which one is it? It's open. That's what we said, right? So we're going to put an open circle at -2, 1. Okay? Then we got to plot the other points. We have 0, -1. So 0, -1, we're just going to put just like this. Okay? And then 4, -5. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then down 5. Is going to be a what kind of circle? Open. So we're going to put another open. Now, because we have 2 endpoints, we have an endpoint at -2 and an endpoint at 4. What that basically means is that we're simply going to draw a segment just like that. And that's all we can do for part 2. There will not be any arrows. Because remember, there are 2 endpoints. So it's going to start at -2 and end at positive 4. Does anybody have a question about that? Anybody have a question about that? Okay? All right. It's time to do part 3. Now for part 3, you'll notice that it says that if x is what? X is what on part 3? X is what?
Greater than or equal.
Greater than or equal to 4, right? So we know that, again, we're going to put our endpoint, which in this case is 4. And it just says x is greater than or equal to 4. So what are 2 numbers I can put under x for 4? 5, huh? 5 and what? 6. And we might as well say 7. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put the value of y, in this case, what is the value of y?
-3.
It says, so basically it's y equals -3, right? Because on part 3, the y value is -3. Does everyone see that? Okay, now, what kind of circle am I going to put for 4 on this graph? Why is it closed? It says greater than or equal to, right? So we're going to put a closed circle. Now, we don't have to worry about the other ones because the rest of them are just other points. There's only one endpoint. So now, the good thing about a problem like this is it says y equals -3. So does anybody know what the value of y will be if x equals 4?
-3.
It equals -3. What about for 5? What about for 6? And then 7? And so on, right? Okay, yep, and so on. Okay, and so on. So now, does anybody have a question about how we got the values of the table on there? All right, I got 3 minutes. I got to finish this up. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to graph those points. The first point is 4, -3. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then down 1, 2, 3. And what kind of circle do I put? A closed circle. Then I got to put 5, -3, which is going to be right here, right? 6, -3, 7, -3, and so on and so forth. In other words, the graph of this graph, and since it's only one endpoint, you're going to just draw the line right this. And remember, put an arrow at the end. Because remember, there's only one endpoint. Does anybody have a question about how I do part 3? Now, as somebody mentioned in my earlier class today, they said the hardest part of all of this is to write the domain and range, which we're going to have to do on the test. Okay? So here's what you have to do. So we start with domain. So remember, domain is left to right. So what do you see on the left side? Look at the left side of the graph. What is the left thing? What's the leftmost thing you see?
The dot as well.
So the leftmost, what do you see?
-4.
That's the leftmost thing you see? Does anybody see anything else? On the left. It's infinite. It's this arrow right here. So that means, and what does infinite mean? Negative infinity is on the left. So I would write parentheses, negative infinity. Now, please watch carefully. I'm going to travel, going to the right. So I'm traveling, and I get to here. I stop. Okay? Now, that's a closed circle. That's no big deal. It's a closed circle. But it stops here. So now we need to see where it picks up. Well, it picks back up here. This is an open circle, but it's okay. You got a closed circle here. So now I'm going to travel, and then get to here. Okay? I'll stop. Okay? It's an open circle, right? But I need to see if there's a closed circle or some other circle to let me keep going. Well, guess what? There's a closed circle right here. So that means I can keep going and it goes on forever. So there was no break in the action. So therefore, what's the domain for this problem?
Negative infinity.
Negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay? All right. Excuse me. I just gotta hurry up. Okay? All right? Because we're running out of time. Okay? Please feel free to stay if I run out of time. Now, for the range. So the range, please watch this carefully. What is on the bottom of this graph? What's the bottom?
Negative infinity.
Okay, infinite, right? Okay, so now I need to go up. So I'm going to go up, right here. I stop right here. Now, okay? Now, I'm right here, correct? So now, I have to see where it picks back up on the range. So, if you gotta go, you gotta go, but I'm not finished this. So, range is right here. So that means all I'm gonna do now is see if there's a continuation. There is a continuation right here. That's a closed circle. So now, I'm gonna travel up to this right here. Now, I get to here, but there's nothing else up here. So this is actually the highest it goes to. So this says negative infinity. So I'm going to go to negative infinity, and then it doesn't stop, or there's no stopping until I get to this circle right here. What is the value of y? What is the value of y right here? Huh? It's 1, right? So basically your domain, your range, would be negative infinity to 1, and is this going to be a bracket or parentheses? A parentheses. That's it. Thank you so much.
Mister, you're gonna send it on reminder?
What?
With the video? Or?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
All right, y'all heard that, right? I got to send it on remind. Okay, all right. So it's going to be negative infinity to negative, or to to positive 1 with a parentheses. Okay? All right. Turn the light on. Huh? You don't have to.
Okay.
No, you don't have to. But eventually we're going to be doing that. But right now,